Welcome to the Dr. Char Holistic Health Show. Today's subject, we're going to be talking about the best kept secrets in nutrition. And again, we have Bob Marshall.
Thank you very much, Dr. Char. It's really wonderful to be on the island and have a chance to share some of the things we've discovered, and hopefully they can really help many of your viewers and give you a little different perspective on what happens when you try to nourish your body.
Okay. You know, we have a lot of questions, a lot of people want to ask, and unfortunately they can't call in. So we're going to ask you some questions about what is your 10 secrets that you know of in health.
Well, I think that if we talk 10 secrets of health, that's fine. I would say that the number one problem that most Americans have is mineral deficiency. We eat as if we were a farmer, and we live as if we were a slug. We do very little exercise, and we at this moment have an obesity crisis in the United States. But I believe that it links back to the fact that we're eating foods that really aren't food. We consume white flour and white sugar as if these were healthy, normal foods. In my radio show, I always say that these are make-believe food. And when you eat make-believe food, the best you can hope for is make-believe health. But even worse than that, when you eat sugar, refined sugar, since it doesn't have the B vitamins and other nutrients needed for its metabolism, for its use in the body, they have to be stolen. In the theft process, the body signals the brain, you better eat more because I don't really have enough to metabolize this. So now an extraordinary increase in appetite occurs. And we see this with white flour and white sugar, and the president is interested in a program for weight loss for America. If you're really interested, then we have to make a change, and we have to eliminate these foods. They're, of course, linked to not just obesity, but diabetes, to heart disease, to so many other illnesses. And I must say, through Robin Hood's barn, it's also linked to cancer. And those are probably our three nemesis as a country: heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. They're all directly linked. So when we look at food, we need to eat food that excludes these things. We need to get our minerals up. A simple way to do that is to get a roll of pH paper for about $10. Tear off a little strip, pass it through the first morning urine stream. It's going to change color. If you're really bad off, it'll be purple or blue. And that tells you your body's making ammonia because you're so bad off, it doesn't have enough minerals to do anything. Now, as you start getting minerals, suddenly the pH goes way down. Now it's yellow. And from there, it's going to work its way back up to the ideal 6.4 to 7.0 green zone. Now, let me tell you the payoff when you get in this zone. First of all, you'll never have chapped lips again. Now, in Hawaii, that may not be a big deal, but I saw people on the plane using lip balm. And okay, you'll never need that again. The second thing that'll happen is your bones won't creak and pop and just feel terrible. But the most important thing is each tenth of a pH, you bring yourself back to the ideal zone, is a tenfold increase in tissue oxygen. Wow. Is that going to knock the spots out of cancer? Is that going to help the body with being able to exercise? So many of the people who get into this high weight or diabetes state tell me I'm a couch potato. And they don't stop there. They want to tell you what it means. It means that if I attempt to go exercise, I get sick. So I have to stay here. I can't go out there and exercise. So what you're asking me to do is ridiculous. And so they're trapped in this spiraling weight and unable to exercise modicum. So minerals, basic elimination of toxic foods. And I would say that number 3 has to be to restore some good oils in the diet. We've been eating trans fatty acids despite New York banning them, which is a wonderful thing. We're still eating them. And the manufacturers of cookies and salad dressings, in order to save about 1/10 of a cent a serving use trans fatty acids. And if they hadn't hurt us enough with those, when you go to the supermarket, the oil's always on the top shelf in the bright light. And guess what it's in? It's in clear plastic. Now, for your viewers, they don't know if that means anything bad or not, but anybody that knows any basic chemistry of food knows the first way that an oil goes rancid is exposure to light. So you would think it would be in a special bottle to protect it. And when I first was manufacturing, I thought, okay, what do we need so that the light can't get through this thing and hurt it? And I looked around, I called a couple of universities, nobody knew anything. So I went online and I found research from, and online back then was pretty difficult actually. It was 99 when about the only thing online was porn. And I found the work of the Fraunhofer Institute in Germany. And here they had shown that the light that rancidifies a fat is from 450 to 720 nanometers. So I said, great, I'll just make a bottle and I'll just go call the bottle guys and I'll get a bottle that blocks this light. Oh no, there are no bottles that block that light. There are no bottles made in America that block that light, plastic bottles. Okay, so now I have to make my own bottle in order to have a bottle that's kind of violet in color like this guy, and it 100% blocks the light that rancidifies. Now you go in a supermarket, you can't find a single oil in there like that. If you go in a health food store, you'll find some that are black. Can't see through them at all. But that particular type of plastic, after 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, is beginning to leach into the oil. Not a good idea. And if we use glass, we would have to make violite. That would be a challenge. So this is the next issue, good oils that aren't going to hurt you. So I would say that the fifth player on the block has to be our ability to digest and absorb our food. This is such a problem. The United States is now spending $50+ billion a year on antacids. And there are no mammals on the planet that have an antacid deficiency. So what are we doing here? What we're doing here is we get acid indigestion. Oh, our stomach hurts and it burns. If I take an antacid, right away I kill it. But what's happening when I do that? Now my food's going to rot from the stomach to the anus. That rotting food is going to be absorbed from the small intestine in part and go to my liver through the hepatoportal artery and devastate my liver. Oh, and just a little PS. In Chinese medicine, when the liver's got a problem, you're the angry person. So that accounts for why these people are so crazy when they get on the freeway over nothing, you know? It's because their liver is full of all this rotting food, okay? And the gallbladder becomes jammed. Now the gallbladder has a meridian, one of which points stops behind your ear on the distal side of the mastoid, and that controls your ability to go off to sleep. So now we can't go off to sleep. It just cascades. And the lack of the stomach acid and the use of the antacid, now at 2 or 3 in the morning, we're going to wake up for no reason. It's actually not no reason. Your body is flooded with undigested food. And your metabolism is slow because you're trying to repair the body. The body says, oh, this is too much junk. I got to speed metabolism. Translated to English, you got to wake up. So number 6 then is we've got to be able to digest our food. So every time that you eat cooked food, you need to take digestive enzymes because you were not designed for cooked food. You were designed for raw food. Now, I'm not suggesting here you switch to American raw food. You'll die from food poisoning. If you try to eat it, it's too filthy. There's only one countermeasure remaining in this war, and that is you take digestive enzymes. And what we have concluded is that if you get plant-based enzymes, you don't have the chemotoxic tagalongs of the animal. You have an opportunity to take them early in the meal. They have been engineered to survive acid, and you can, in there, have pepsin. Pepsin is a catalyst that makes the HCl work much better. It needs to be throughout the media or the fluid of the stomach, so when the HCl is liberated, it can work just the way it's supposed to. Now, when you do this, you have a chance to change your life. You have a chance. There was a study, I have to back up. There was a study in Medical Hypothesis in 1998, and it showed that when you eat cooked food, you lose 1,800 methyl groups per cell per day. And when you eat raw food that's not toxic, you would lose only 1,200. So it is reasonable to suggest that if you took a digestive enzyme, making the cooked food equivalent to the raw food, you would now be saving 1/3 of your lifespan. My God, it's a simple act. See, these are the secrets nobody seems to know. And believe me, if you have acid indigestion, assuming you don't have an ulcer, and assuming you don't have a big scar from the forehead to the pubic bone, and you take 2,3,4-HCl, betaine hydrochloride, in 3 or 4 minutes, all the acid indigestion's gone. Because what it really is lactic acid being synthesized by the rotting food. And when you're hit with HCl, it's gone. And I don't know how many tens of thousands of radio listeners have called and written to me and said, I can move better, I can sleep better, I can function better. Thank you for what you've done. And if there's one thing, if you're tight on money, if you got a problem, I recommend you do not eat again if you're over 21 without taking some betaine hydrochloride. And if you start as early as 21, you will stay so young and so youthful, because this is one of the big killers. Okay, so digestion. Now, what's the next secret? Well, the next secret is antioxidants. There's been a 50% decline in American food antioxidant content as measured in 2005 in the prior 25 years. So from 1980 to 2005, 50% decline. So each cell has been estimated to have 10,000 DNA base pair hits per day per cell. So if you want to do something to counter that, you need antioxidants. Now, these antioxidants are a study unto themselves. They're pretty tricky. My fantasy when I was in school was DHLA. This is dihydrolipoic acid. This guy quenches every known free radical that can occur in living tissue. That's the upside. The downside is when you consume it, it's out of your blood in 40 minutes. That's the downside. So it needs to be consumed over a period of time so you can get cellular saturation and have it last for a 24-hour period of time. So you could mix a drink together, kind of like I've done right here, and you nurse this over a 4, 5, 6-hour period of time. And if you're a lot bigger than me, you get a bigger bottle. If you're smaller than me, get a smaller bottle. And in here, I have specialty antioxidants like green tea, because the polyphenols of green tea are extremely efficient at quenching certain free radicals that DHLA is not efficient at quenching. It can do it, but it squanders it. Now, DHLA is quite the show-off, though. It regenerates your vitamin E, vitamin C, glutathione, NADH, and it spares SOD. It's the player of players, okay? So obviously, I'm in love with that one, and that's the first one that we produced by a beneficial probiotic method. In addition, after you pass about age 45, 50, it's a good idea to get a fully reduced CoQ10. You can get this in a liquid form, get it right into the bloodstream, CoQ10H. And then finally, B vitamins. I never met an American who was a success who didn't have some good stress in their life. And we call it max stress B, and the reason is it's the guy that can help the body bring down the stress. So antioxidants are a big player. And now the last two issues. One is going to kind of stun all of you, and that's the teeth. And you as a dentist, Dr. Char, fortunately we're sitting and we're on the same side. You even seen a document I produced, Making the Right Dental Choice, and you endorsed it. I appreciate that very much, because sometimes I get on shows where we're not on the same page. But to me, the dental restorations in the mouth are an absolute nemesis. Dr. Murray Vimy in Canada and many, many others throughout the U.S. and overseas, as documented in a wonderful British Broadcasting Corporation Panorama series, Is There Poison in Your Mouth?
Yes, yes.
It was a 1-hour documentary, and if you're interested, you should contact Dr. Char, and we'll make sure you can get a hold of a copy. But in there, they show that no mammal on Earth can withstand 2 dissimilar metals in the mouth. So you get a silver filling, which is really a violation of federal trade laws, because it's not a silver filling. It is a mercury amalgam, 50 to 65% mercury,
Right.
A deadly poison. And you have this in the mouth, and now you place a crown, which might be porcelain jacketed over stainless steel. The stainless steel they use is the cheapest junk they can get their hands on. In manufacturing, we have to study stainless steel because there are 3 different grades. And there's only one grade that's nickel-free, and that's 316 stainless.
Okay.
So we have all of our equipment in 316 stainless, so that whether or not we have an acid making contact with the surface, it will not leach nickel. Nickel is a known cancer-causing agent. So now I have stainless steel, the cheapest thing they can get their hands on, and I have mercury. The 2 of them come out 80 times faster. No one can survive that. Now, you as a viewer may say, oh my Lord, I've got 6 or 8 mercury amalgams, I've got 5 or 6 crowns, just like I did. Obviously, if your finances permit, you replace it all with low-fusing ceramic, or you contact Dr. Char and get a copy of Making the Right Dental Choice. But let's say you're tight on money. Get down to not more than 1 toxic metal. And I would choose to remove the mercury amalgams simply because mercury is constantly expanding and contracting. And as it does, it breaks the teeth. So if we could pop a low-fusing ceramic in there, we can change the dance. When it's laser bonded, it's stronger than the original tooth. And I have them since 1994, and they've given me a new lease on life. That's one of the key things that most people don't think about. And the last one we will talk about the people will be gone. This show will air later. I'm going to talk while I'm here in Hawaii about emotional repolarization. I think, having traveled the world, I don't know of a country that shares a guilt, what can I say, sense of guilt like America. And so we tend, no matter how smart we are or dumb we are, we tend to sabotage ourselves because through childhood we've believed that we are guilty or bad or evil. You desperately need to do some emotional repolarization. There are a number of practitioners on this island that are learning QRA, which we call the medicine of the 21st century. And that's because, and that was the quote of Dr. Rob Ivker, the president of the American Preventive Medical Association. And you're going to get to see what I mean by that in just a minute. But what these practitioners can do for you is make you strong to the idea that you may love yourself and you may be loved, and open a whole new horizon of happiness and joy in your life, and also bring more life to the bones. The one thing that the Proverbs say is that when you're angry and upset and negative, and your mind is always slipping into fear, that you dry out the bones. But if you could get to a place, and you need to, because you got to bet your life on it, you got to get to a place where you see the day as a privilege. You don't have anything coming. See, one of the problems we've had as a country is you look down the street and somebody's got a new car. Well, we ought to have a new car. Well, who said that? Where'd you read that? When you draw breath, it's unfair to the table and everything else around you. You've got this life. It's a privilege. So what you want to do is have joy in that life, whatever the heck the day brings. And when there's something bad, you just say thank you. It's going to change your whole attitude. I remember walking out, I had a new car, walk out of the supermarket, somebody's knocked off the mirror. I look at that, I laughed. And, you know, people were stunned I would laugh. I'm still here. I can easily fix that mirror. It's no problem. So anyway, those are the 10 key things that I think we all need to bring into our lives.
Well, I'm glad you said something about dentistry because we've been saying that for 47 years. And when we first, I was the first one that did resin fillings in the posterior teeth in Hawaii. And I was laughed at, chastised, everything. And guys now that are laughing at me are doing it. Now, how the world turns, right? Mm-hmm. But yes, we're going to show right now when you talked about quantum
reflex analysis,
okay.
the medicine of the 21st century.
I want to see. I want to see that.
Basically, let me introduce them.
Okay.
There's two ideas. First, this is a technology that saved my life, but it's also a technology that allows me to look at the body and find the origin of the chief complaint. It allows me to figure out what nutrients the body needs to fix it. That's part one. Part two, it allows me to study the plasma energy field, the all-controlling field of the body, and see what scar trauma sites are sedating the healthy energy flow to the key origin of the chief complaint. Once I know that, I can now erase that and have the normal healing energy flowing again into that organ or gland. So I'm going to give a demonstration.
Good.
In QRA, we use a kinesiological test, although there are other options as well. And so basically, we will take a subject right here, and we will have her make an O ring, which she'll use her ring finger and her thumb. And then I will use one hand on each finger. First, I will bring in my middle finger, because I have to get that in at the least. If I can get all my fingers in, fine, but I get that guy in at the least. Then I rest my thumb on that middle finger, and then bring my index finger in like this. I'll take this little guy with me. And see how I've got my grip. I don't think we can do a close-up, but
You can zoom in.
you can zoom in. You want to zoom in and let them see this? Thank you very much. Okay, so now I want you to notice my hands. First of all, my thumbs are thumb to thumb. My fingers are finger to finger. I'm not hurting her in any way, but the outside palms of my hands are going to make a pair of pliers. So I'm going to be opening like this, see? So here I go. I'm in here, and now I'm going to ask her, hold strong as you can, strong as you can. And I'm going to very quickly test her for 3 times to see that she has the same strength when I just barely separate her fingers. Okay? Now I'm going to ask her to do something with his hand. In fact, what we'll do is we'll go to a point on her body, and we will always use acupuncture outflow points, except for the heart, where we have to use an inflow point as well. And these are well-established points, and we're going to make contact with these points with 2 fingers. In Chinese medicine, the thumb is neutral, and then you have positive, negative, positive, actually negative, positive, negative, positive. So, and in another orientation, on the left hand, it's north, south, east, west. But with 2 fingers, with her holding up 2 fingers like this, she can, with firm pressure, quickly access an average of what's going on. So let's do a point like pituitary, and we'll be right between the eyebrows, and I've shown her that she has to use firm pressure because when you're young and vital and very strong, there's something called a Wei Qi. It's a compensating energy biofield that will strengthen that point if I just have a light touch. But when I firmly touch, I go through the Wei Qi, and now I can see what's really going on. Now your eyes must be open to test. And you're ready? Hold strong as you can now. And what would you say? You, okay, take your hand away. Take your hand away. And now, what, strong as you can.
Stronger.
So you were stronger when you were off the point.
Right.
So that means the point is weak. So then what we can simply do is take a supplement or anything and place it in her field like that, and have her repeat the test. Firm pressure again, like you just did, and it's the pad of her fingers that's making contact. And now, as strong as you can. Ready? Strong as you can. And what would you say?
Stronger.
Way stronger. Yes. And stronger than in the clear, wouldn't you say? Okay, so this was a good help to her. Okay, this is a quick example. Some people will not have what we call a lock. When we test them 3 times quickly, they go weak. and so we have to use their other hand or a surrogate, and that can be done as well. But with this technology, we can quickly go through the body, find where it's strong or weak, then correlate that to the chief complaint. And so now we know, for example, for her, pituitary was weak, but if I went through the body, I would always start with the kidneys. And looking at her body, I would suspect kidney is weak. And when I made kidney strong, pituitary actually might become strong. And so we have to follow a hierarchy of how the body works. And then I would probably end up focusing my concerns for her chief complaint at kidney. Okay? And so every one of these points are classic acupuncture points. And I, as the testor, must be sure that my pituitary, governor vessel 20, and governor vessel 17 all test strong. Otherwise, I cannot accurately assess her strength. And this is one of the reasons that kinesiological testing has not had more widespread acceptance. And you'll notice that as you use highly cell resonant supplements, ones that can't be stress tapped off, that what you experience is very subtle changes in strength. So if you're unable to tell them, you can't see what's going on. And so what I'd like to do now is demonstrate our food. And so here is a very well-grown orange, and I'm going to show you that she will hold it with her energy eyes, like this, like that. Just these, no, like so. Okay. And so she's got those fingers on it. She's going to go now and hold as strong as you can. And it's very strong. Now we'll show you 1, 2, 3, 4, and do again, and still strong. And now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and watch what happens. Strong as you can. Super weak.
Very good.
So this food,
we ran out of time.
that's the whole concept.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And Bob Marshall, I thank you for a great session in terms of how the audience going to perceive you as when you get to that seminar.
Good.
You're going to say, I saw you on TV and you gave such a wealth of information, I want to meet you.
Good.
And so you're going to be in Vim and Vigor this weekend, right?
Yeah.
And
February
next weekend
20th,
too.
February 20th.
February,
but I think
okay.
the show won't show until and after
Yes,
that, right?
but anyhow,
It's unfortunate.
we're going to have people
Well-
ask for you again on your return visit.
Good. And
Okay,
actually,
thank you
one
very
of our
much.
emissaries from the company, why don't you come over here for a minute?
It's
This is,
it's over.
we're almost out of time.
Yeah,
We're out of
no,
time.
okay.
No problem.
Thank you.